A very good morning to everyone. Science class. Now, as we know that the study of stars is related to astronomy, all the astronomical objects are studied in the field, and that is the field of astronomy. Let's recall what is a galaxy and what are the various components of a galaxy. A galaxy is an expansive space system composed of huge collection of gas, dust and billions of stars and their solar systems. The various components of a galaxy are the disk, the halo and the nucleus or central bulge. Now, what are the different types of stars? Protostar, TT Tauri star, main sequence star, red giant star, white dwarf star, red dwarf star, neutron star, supergiant star. All these are the different types of stars we have. We have already learned about galaxies and stars as well as the solar system and its different components. Stars are born out of nebulae. Basically, nebulae are clouds made up of mainly hydrogen gas and dust particles. The dust particles in these clouds are attracted towards one another due to the force of gravity. And as a result of this force of gravity, the cloud formed contracts and becomes dense and spherical in shape. At the same time, the pressure of the gas at the core of the cloud increases, causing the temperature to rise tremendously, and energy generation processes start there. Such a spherical cloud of hydrogen is called as a star. Later processes such as contraction, expansion, rise in temperature, etc. bring about changes in the nature of the star. These changes occur over a very long period of time and constitute the life cycle of the stars. The different forms of the stars at various stages during this life cycle are identified as different types of stars: sun-like star, red giant stars, supernova, binary or twin stars. You can see how they look like. These are the different types of stars, and because of these stages we have their life cycle. As we all know by now, the different forms of stars at various stages during this life cycle are identified as different types of stars. Now we will study the life cycle of stars after their birth from a nebula. Stars are formed in clouds of gas and dust known as nebulae. Nuclear reactions at the center or core of stars provide the nebula. A star born in a Star nebula, as it grows, it enters into one of the two pathways of life. Depending on its size, the star becomes either an average star or a massive star. You can have a look at the diagram how the average star and a massive star is. The average star when becomes the red giant, a planetary nebula, and ended life as a white dwarf. These are how the life cycle of a star is. The massive star turns into supergiant, goes supernova, and ends up as a neutron star or a black hole, again depending on its size. Small to medium stars turn into red giants and big stars turn into red supergiants. This is how the life cycle of a star is taking place. We have seen how the steps are. Ultimately, the hydrogen that influences the nuclear reactions within stars will begin to run out, and they will enter the final phases of their lifetime. You can see how the nuclear reaction takes place, and this is what the life cycle of a star, how the nuclear reactions lead to life cycle of a star. Eventually they will expand, cool and change color to become red giants. You can see in the diagram, small stars like the sun will undergo relatively peaceful and beautiful death as they seem pass through a planetary nebula phase to become white dwarf. This eventually cools down over the time, leaving a brown dwarf. You can see what is a brown dwarf. Massive stars, on the other hand, will experience a most energetic and violent end, which will see the remains scattered about the cosmos in an enormous explosion called supernova. So the enormous explosion causes supernova. Once the dust clears, the only thing remaining will be very dense star known as neutron star. These can often be rapidly spinning and are known as pulsars. If the star which explodes is specially large, it can even form a black hole. Basically, a black hole is a place where things enter and just get lost in the universe. You can see here, this is the solar system. As we all know that our solar system is a tiny part of a galaxy called the Milky Way, which is many times larger than the solar system. There are lakhs of stars in the Milky Way, some of them being many times bigger than that of a sun. Some of them have their own planetary systems. You can see in the screen that how big the star is. They all have their own planetary system. Stars in the Milky Way show great diversity in color, brightness as well as size. Some stars which appear too close to one another, making a particular figure, are together known as constellation. So basically, constellation is stars which appear close to one another, make a special figure, and that figure is called constellation. What we need to know more about is the sky and space. Basically, standing in an open space, if we look at the sky on a cloudless night, we see numerous stars against a dark background. The portion of the earth and the portion beyond that which can be seen in the form of a roof by our eyes while standing on the earth is called the sky. So that is what we mean sky. Space, the continuous empty space between the spheres, planets, stars, etc. in the sky is called space. It may contain gas and dust particles. So we have exactly learned the astronomical definition for sky and space. Numerous star clusters have formed in space. Let's try one activity. Stand still in an open space and look into the distance. What do you notice about the ground and the sky? Now, still looking into the distance, turn around yourself and observe the around and the sky as you do so. Horizon. Have you heard this word horizon? Far away the sky seems to be touching the ground. The line which they meet is called the horizon. While turning around oneself, horizon will be seen to form a circle, and on looking up the sky will appear to be sphere based on this circle. The stars and planets moving in the sky appear to be moving on this sphere. The virtual sphere is called the celestial sphere. Virtual. The circular horizon divides the sphere into two parts. Zenith, While standing on the ground, the point on the celestial sphere, that is imaginary sphere, is exactly above our head is called zenith. Nadir, while standing on the ground, the point on the celestial sphere exactly below our feet is called nadir. So zenith and nadir. Celestial poles, if we extend the axis of rotation of the earth in the north-south directions, it will penetrate the celestial sphere at points called the celestial north pole and celestial south pole respectively. Celestial is all of them are imaginary. Meridian, in astronomy, the great circle which passes through both the celestial poles and the observer's zenith and nadir is called meridian. The poles as well as zenith and nadir. Celestial equator, if we uniformly expand Earth's equator in all directions indefinitely, it will penetrate the celestial sphere along a circle. This circle is known as the celestial equator. It is in the same plane as the Earth's equator. We can see in the diagram the Earth's equator and the celestial equator. Ecliptic, the Earth moves around the Sun but is seen from the Earth. The Sun appears to move along the circle on the celestial sphere. This circle describing the apparent motion. Apparent is appearing motion of the Sun around the Earth is called ecliptic. That is, it is eclipse in shape. I hope you have understood the concept of astronomy and the things which we are using to describe these astronomical objects. Thank you.